What is ego backlash? Well, if you are experiencing some sudden resistance, or you really want to fall back into your old behavioral patterns or thinking patterns on the way of growing and changing, then you're probably experiencing some sort of ego backlash. The ego is everything that you identify yourself with, you think you are, or what you're doing throughout the day. Like, this is you, right? You think like, this is me, this is my ego. And if you're changing and growing, some part of the ego has to die, right? Because you let go of something old, not doing that anymore, not identifying with that anymore, and though you're adapting something new. But literally there's part of you that is dying. And this is threatening to the ego. And this is why there's some ego backlash. It's like, no, I don't want to let go of this old thing. I survived until now and it made sense. Why should I change now? This might be risky. This is what your ego is basically thinking. It's like, oh no, it's not a good idea to change yet. We should really go back. We should really take the safe road. And what you also have to understand and acknowledge that everything that you previously did are some deep-rooted survival mechanisms. And it made sense that you have them at some point. Let me actually give you some examples here. One example is classical, if you want to stop smoking. And a lot of people after 6, 7, 8 months, they backlash, experiencing this huge ego backlash, and then they either smoke again or they start overeating or do something else, another negative habit. And then people come to me and be like, hey Marco, can you help me to change my behavior? I'm really not able to do it on my own. I'm always like experiencing resistance at some point. Well, that's an ego backlash. And smoking here really might be a deep-rooted survival mechanism. Maybe you smoked because you were stressed in life. And now smoking serves as a coping mechanism to deal with stress because you didn't build any other mechanisms to deal with stress optimally. Now you stop smoking, but you're still not dealing with stress optimally. Obviously, then also you're experiencing this ego backlash of like, hey, let's go back and do this. This part within was about to die, but it doesn't make any sense. I need it. Very important to know. Right? So they also say regarding to ego backlash, it's about going 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. Sometimes there's a deeper cause behind. Here it is the stress. It's not about the smoking, it's just a symptom. We need to first of all go back to the deep root cause and then we can go ahead. Very important. People who are overeating, they might do this because they're experiencing some lack of love. If they just force themselves to stop overeating, there's still some lack and they will experience ego backlash. Now, please keep in mind, I'm not saying that everybody who's smoking is doing it because of stress and everybody who's overeating is doing this because of a lack of love. It's just an example here. Just a simple example. If you want to go back to your ex after a couple of months, maybe you broke up, maybe he or her broke up. And maybe you also realize already, yeah, it's something good, like it's good the way it is. But then at some point, if this weak moment, you're like, oh, I want to go back. It was so safe. It was so nice. You know, there were some good parts here. It's ego backlash. Usually there needs something that you're working out before you again move ahead. You first of all really have to disassemble your life to then build something new. Understanding the concept behind, make a change at the deeper root and then make the change. Now, it's not always the case that there's some deeper meaning behind. Sometimes it's really just inertia and you just have to go for it. And there is some resistance on the way and you have to deal with this optimally without like needing to like really go a step backwards and identify something here. It obviously always depends. Now, you will feel sad, you will feel bad about yourself during this ego backlash because you're losing something. Literally, remember, Part of your ego is getting ripped away. It's like a tiger standing in front of you and you're about to die. What an extreme situation. This is what your ego is experiencing. Really come to realize that. And actually, now I'm talking really about how can you deal with ego backlash. There are actually 4 points. I actually got this from a TED talk. I also put the link in the description below, and we just apply this now to ego backlash. And the very first point is about recognizing, right? So calling it out. Really even can say it out loud. Okay, I'm experiencing an ego backlash. Aha, interesting. Why is that? Let's call it out first. If you're not aware of that, it's very easy that you creep back into your old behavioral patterns and you're doing it as you used to. You're not meditating anymore, or you're going back to your ex, or whatever it is. So calling it out. Secondly is you're accepting it. How do you do that? You understand, oh, I'm experiencing this, but also I had this before and I realize it's temporary. It's not staying this. And also, it's part of growing, because growth is not a linear line that you like always get better. There are some, there are a lot of plateaus on the way of like mastery. There are sometimes even like you forget things, or sometimes you feel negative about yourself. Sometimes it's going better. And this ego backlash, even though it seems like I'm going back, or I didn't meditate yesterday, for example, but that's part of growth. That's part of getting over this, integrating a new part into your ego. Okay, interesting. So it's just temporary, it's part of it, it's normal. Okay, and also realize that happiness equals reality minus expectation. So expect that this is happening. Okay, today I experienced ego backlash. I didn't know that it's coming today, but yeah, that's life, it's part of it. Okay. Acceptance, right? So you call it out, recognizing it, you accept it, and then you can investigate it and be like, okay, what is exactly going on here? What is happening? Why am I experiencing this ego backlash? Do I really need to go one step back and then I can go 2 steps forward again? Contemplate about this. Set time apart and be like, okay, today I feel resistance. Interesting. What is happening? And while doing this, you will naturally also get to the 4th point, which is about non-identifying. Realizing, oh, this ego backlash, it's not me as a person, it's just some thoughts that pop up. You can detach from that a little bit and really understand it has nothing to do with me as a person. It's not me who needs to backlash now, it's just some thoughts. Thanks for the information, but I don't need to act on that necessarily. That's the ego backlash. Keep that in mind, be aware of what is happening and expect it really on the way of changing anything, your life, like any sort of behavior, any sort of thoughts, you made a decision, there will be some ego backlash probably. It's part of life. Now, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you enjoy those kind of videos. I'm also a coach. I help people to change their behavior and their thoughts. And I'm really experiencing this a lot with clients. First of all, they come to me because they experience a lot of ego backlash and they're not able to do this on themselves. But also during the coaching sessions, there are some ego backlash. And also, especially, we talk about this then at the end when we go into relapse prevention. How to make sure that you actually stick with what we hear worked out, even though you're not getting coached by me. The ego backlash is a really, really important concept here. All right, so stick around if you're really serious about changing something in your life, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.